Hello guys, my name is Alexandra. I'm the founder of AI CS Hub and the host of Customer Success Therapy podcast, the podcast that goes beyond frameworks and metrics where we uncover uncomfortable truths about the customer success. Every CEO wants product and customer success to be the ultimate duo of the company. Greater adoption, smoother customer journey, faster onboarding. My today's guest is sitting in the seat no one in SaaS actually have. She's a head of product and customer success at PromoRepublic. And today we're discussing where do you actually need customer success teams and when you don't. And one job AI will never do for you, no matter how good it will become. So let's tune in into today's episode. Welcome back to the Customer Success Therapy podcast. And for those who are listening to us today, let me introduce the beautiful lady who came to me on the podcast today. So she is the head of product and customer success at PromoRepublic, and she works in the intersection of product, revenue, and AI, trying to make systems actually deliver value, not just report on it. So please welcome Roksolana Badun. Hello, Roxy. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's nice to see you and nice to have this invitation from you. We haven't talked with you for ages, but
Yes.
on LinkedIn, so that's nice to be here and nice to talk about customer success, especially coming from me working in intersection, which is not the typical place to be.
For those who don't know how we actually met with Roxy, so I think that was so many years ago when I actually had an interviews to the PromoRepublic, but I didn't choose the company. But then we still connected with Roxy and we're following each other on LinkedIn. Yes, that's why I actually invited you because it's so amazing that you're kind of sitting on both, I would say, roles that are like a CPO and CCO, and you're leading both direction, which I think it's amazing because I think that SaaS is missing sometimes this both value of product and customer success because these roles are so tied together. What do you think?
It is amazing and challenging at the same time because usually customer success doesn't work really well with product. So it's really hard for them to develop the value and share the feedback to the product team. And I'm there, so it's easy because we work day to day with customers and customer success. But then from this product standpoint, it's sometimes very challenging because you get feedback from marketing, sales, and they might want something different from what customer success value, or you deal with some stuff where you are testing product vision, then sales sells it, and then you are the customer success and you need to deliver it. And that is very challenging because, okay, I promised it. Now I need to make it happen. Super beneficial for the companies and SaaS because usually companies miss this point to connect product and customer success. And customer success is treated as I call it like as a fixer of everything that is missing in the product.
Yes.
You know that a lot of companies hire customer success to retain customers instead of developing the product and actually bringing the value, which is never working.
Yes, I think that's wrong. Yes, I think that's actually how people trying to make the whole SaaS model work, but it never works. Eventually, it will hit you either with low NRR or with high churn numbers or both at the same time, which is awful.
It is a challenge of companies to go through, and the challenge that I see in general with customer success and product collaboration is that people tend to hire more customer success managers instead of hiring product and engineers. So, and hoping that this NRR will be fixed instead of building what customers actually need and what will solve their issues. We'll have customer success, and customer success will go to the calls, show QBRs, talk about some numbers, ROI and stuff. People see it when they are using the product. You don't need to over-explain it. If the product delivers the value, it delivers the value. Customer success guides you to that value. Customer success helps you to get the value faster and understand how to run faster, but it doesn't solve the problem of the product itself.
An amazing thought. So I have been following your journey for some time, And I remember that when we met, I remember your CEO told that why you're looking for the head of customer success, because you're moving to the head of product. And that's what you have been doing for some time. You were just managing, you were head of product, and then you have shifted and become this head of like global product and customer success. When this news arrived to you, you were happy because now I can do like both because I see value in both functions, or your first thought, oh my God, what I will do.
That was a difficult start. That was needed at that time. And that is a discussion that we have now, whether we need to divide the roles. But back then, we needed to combine the roles to grow the company and grow the franchise part of the company that we have, because it was a change of a market. It was 2024 and COVID ended. Marketing changed a lot. So we are working on the marketing technology, and marketing technology during COVID was booming. Everyone was online. Everyone was trying to do small business, big business, but the only place they could do the business, it was online. And then in 2024, people were back to the offices, and the whole marketing and how you actually get customers changed. So it was the need for us to change and evolve the product, to evolve how we deliver value to the customers. So that was a great step, but it was challenging in terms of priorities for me.
Yes. And I believe that it's not only that COVID ended, but in 2023, we all expected the global delivery of ChatGPT and the whole new world. Can you please walk me through this? Like how, from your perspective, marketing has changed when this AI boom happens and also still happening right now?
I guess it's now changing even more than in 2023. 2023, ChatGPT arrived. Now people are searching for business, searching for place to eat in AI, using Gemini, using Claude. People actually do a bunch of stuff and automating a bunch of stuff through Claude. And that part is growing, and Anthropic is launching iteration after iteration. You can design stuff using Claude. You don't need to do things as you used to do 5 years ago. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. People do not tend to learn that fast. We at SaaS, we are early adopters and we try everything really fast. Then majority goes there like in 2 years. But you need to be prepared that the market will change. That marketing, like a lot of stuff that I'm doing personally, I do through voice. So I use voice AIs to record my summaries, record my thoughts, to have mind maps and everything built through voice, because it's way faster and it's a way how I think. But AI it helps us to automate, but it doesn't control outcome. It's still up to us to control the outcome. And there is a danger that we outsource thinking to AI. And I see it a lot in customer success, because for customer success, never had enough resources in any company. Maybe some companies that had this resources of the world, but it's usually customer success managers. They want to have some resources from marketing. They want to have some resources for their customers to enable them or teach them. Now they have this power, but you need to have some control, like how you teach, whether this information is correct. What you automate is one thing, but you cannot automate the value. You cannot automate the outcome that the customers will get.
Yes, that's powerful. And I think that I want to walk our listeners through your life a little bit, because I like what you've mentioned about your childhood. So can you please let us know, like, obviously, I think that customer success was never your like career of the choice.
That's a good question. So my parents are entrepreneurs, and we had this business discussion since I was a kid all the time. I actually don't remember when we didn't have it. We still have them. Which is good and bad, because we were discussing all the business problems, revenue problems, how to motivate people, like all the layers that was going in the company. My mother grew to CEO of the company, so we discussed all the layers of the problems in the company. And the company was growing, and it still exists, and it exists more than 30 years. So they had different stages of the companies, different relationships of stakeholders, which was very challenging when you think of a kid having dinner, but very helpful for me to grow and understand the business and come to any business and see it from the standpoint of the business, not from the standpoint of the role. Then I was working in the different ventures when I studied at the universities. I was transcribing text, doing explanations, helping on the projects with corporate interviews, investments, bunch of different stuff, working with people. I always worked with people. Then I was working with customer support, building teams, building bonus systems, and the financial part. All of the projects since the very beginning were connected to finances. That part I understand, like sometimes have a lot of stress from understanding how it works. But then I wanted to have, I didn't really want, I was forced to have changes in my career because my relationships ended. I had to move from Finland, where I live now, back to Ukraine and start the journey from scratch. And I was searching for a company that will fit me. And one company hunted for me, and actually it was PromoRepublic. And I had nice interviews. We went through, I received an offer. And then I was like, okay, what is customer success operations? Because I got this offer to work in customer success operations. And I believe when we met first time, I still was doing customer success operations, implementing systems and growing the team. There was nothing when I was joining. So there were no people, no system, and nothing in place. There were actually no customers who needed customer success. That was a bundle. So I joined and there were no customers to manage.
That's so funny.
When I consult once in a while, I'm trying to check whether you actually need customer success team and when you need customer success team and who should be that first person to join. Because for me, it was very challenging to join and not understand how it works and not having that practice. Like, when you work as customer success, it's easier to understand how it works.
Yes.
When I started building it, eventually I moved to head of customer success because I was involved in hiring. I was involved in training, and it was a logical step. Back then, we were dividing customer success based on ICPs and markets. At one step, we merged it, customer success, when you should revisit all the journey that you have had and see what was working, what's not working anymore in terms of economy, value, and just let it go.
Glad that you mentioned it, and I believe that your journey is so interesting. When you meet other head of customer success or other people, and because of your childhood, do you think that sometimes you have this benefit and probably you have still this entrepreneur mindset?
100%. I believe that is everywhere. I believe it's even better than MBA per my experience, but it's close to having MBA because you see the whole picture. You don't think about customer success as a role. And I advocate for customer success not being a role. Customer success is part of organization because LDR, SDR, sales, product, marketing, everyone attribute to customer being successful. If they don't feel that they attribute to customer being successful, there is no point in this organization to have customer success. You can decide what kind of a team you need. Sometimes you need to do restructures. As company grows, you need to have different people. And it's not always the case that people grow the same speed as a company grows.
That makes sense a lot. And for example, do you think that with your experience, can you give us one tip to acquire this business mindset and maybe start seeing all the actions through this business lens rather than, I would say, operational layer or task mindset?
That is a difficult one. I usually, with my team, we do this donut exercise on the retros because it helps us understand who impacts the success of the customer, who brings the value to the customer. And this way you can understand how many pieces are there in order to make customers successful. And if you attribute to this percentage, you can understand what kind of skill set you need to have. How much do you need to understand product? How much you need to understand sales. I would say the biggest benefit for me is still not understanding internal teams, but understanding the customer and understanding how their business works. So for us, it's easier when you are into marketing or into franchise. If you understand either of this, then you can understand the customer, you can talk the same language. You can feel their problems. And then internally, you have some other people to help you. If you focus only on internal stuff and internal problems, you'll stay within this operational role, and it's changing a lot.
And you had this interesting thought, and I would like to go deeper into it. And how do you think it's possible to grow on the first stages without customer success?
I think that customer success won't disappear that fast. For me, marketing and customer success have this part of magic that exists behind it. And that is part of relationship, part of understanding behavior, understanding how everything works in the company, having the understanding what is the value, and value is very abstract in a sense. We can mark it down and say that the tool helps automate and save time, but people in their roles can see it differently. With AI, we will start automating what can be automated. Email sequences, preparations to the meetings, slides, etc. But in the end of the day, customer success is not about scaling activity, but building this value and evolving this value that evolves with AI.
Do you think that, for example, as a head of product, if someone builds a perfect product with AI, yes, if there is still need to hire the customer success manager, even one, and if yes, why?
I guess it's a fight. If we are talking about companies focusing on SMBs and B2C, maybe it will disappear or evolve in more automated role. But when we are talking about enterprises, it's more complex. You are working with multiple stakeholders, multiple layers of stakeholders. So you have this decision maker who buys the company and buys the product, and you see it only when signing the next renewal. And then you have those stakeholders who are champions who actually suggested the product and selected it. And then you have daily users using the product. And maybe for daily users, you don't need to have customer success. You don't need to onboard them that deeply as we do now. But for users that are actually not touching your platform or touching it every 3 months, you still need to show the value. You still need to package it. You still need to deliver it. And people tend to trust people. So
backing to AI, we know that everyone is trying to try different tools, and there is a great pressure to use AI. In your experience, do you think that there are activities that should be done without AI? Don't touch even any AI product, it will only hurt. I automate a lot of stuff. I'm testing a lot of stuff. I believe everything that is difficult and requires multi-layer context should go through human judgment. I have workflows that collect information from multiple sources. Like they check all the previous calls, all the emails, CRM, usage of the platform, etc. But in the end of the day, they check and collect report for me, and I decide what we are doing there. And I decide what direction do we go and what strategy do we choose for negotiations or for renewal tactics. In the most cases, renewal tactics are still human judgments. Like for us in marketing, we have a lot of changes, and it comes to changes within customer stakeholders and their tech stack, and they might work in one way and then they decide to work in a different way. And it's useless to focus on what was in the past when we need to build the future, and AI cannot build the future because it has only context from the past, how it can build the future. Their customer success comes in place because customer success understands the product, understands the vision, understands the customer business, and can co-design with customer their future with the product. That's an interesting thought that you said right now, that AI, they can only basically predict something based on the context that was in the past, not in the future. But we also know that as well, experts say so, that if you provide as much information as possible, you can also build this forecast layer. Do you think it's true? For example, we've talked about renewals, that you can, with AI, you can build so many these touch points and signals that, I don't know, at some point we will know that, okay, this customer for sure will renew and this not.
There is one tool built in Finland called Userlens, and they are in YC now, and I met with them and checked the product, and they are trying to do so. I feel that there is other layers of the context that is not being tracked. You can track it in theory, but more in theory. For example, within our stakeholders, there is a lot of changes of stakeholders in general. So what happens? Marketing changes. So companies trying to hire different people for different tasks because they need to evolve the strategy. They need to evolve how they work. Our data would show that previous vision of work is working, but it doesn't mean that the vision that they have for the next year with a new person that they hired would be the same and the tool will feed. For SMB, it works 100%. It already works. I see it's working because you can put a lot of context from the journey and a lot of context from the previous similar customers and assume the prediction. But for enterprise, I would say it's multi-layer decision makers.
Yes, I believe that's true. And, that's such a funny thing because if we're thinking about this, AI is promising us to give this the touch points and context and automation. But at the same point, we know in customer success that this, I don't know, half of the churn comes from companies are changing the main stakeholder. And usually main stakeholder is a person who comes and try to bring what they have used and used to use in other companies. I'm thinking like how then it's possible to decrease this stakeholder change. You're right. You can't go to the head of this person and see their vision. At the same time, I hear a lot from a lot of content creators on LinkedIn that basically you just need to establish connections with the stakeholders. But again, I think that works only with particular companies, maybe SMB.
Stakeholder change is big, but we have a complex stakeholder change that comes with M&As together, which is other challenge because venture companies, Bs, can mandate who is a company that they will use in terms of marketing. But in general, for what works when there are no mergers is making sure that your product is being used on all the levels and making sure that you align all of the stakeholders on a recurrent basis. It's not a fix for everything, but when they see that you have a high adoption and people actually using the tool and it brings value within the format that was designed, that is also a challenge with changing stakeholders because you can set the goals with your previous stakeholder and assume that are the goals, go through that goals, achieve, all of the milestones, have super cool adoption. And then other stakeholder comes and says, okay, our goal is to minimize our time spent on marketing and get the same results. But it's not the goal that we've discussed with previous stakeholder. So for us, it helps to show that were the goals and we achieved them. We can set other goals and achieve them together. Still trying to connect with stakeholders, even if it's like once a year, having them there, it's beneficial. Inviting them, like a lot of our C-level stakeholders, they're joining just for annual meetings. They are not joining for quarterly meetings when it comes to bigger companies, but then they are joining community events, webinars, other touch points where they have the same level of stakeholders. And if they see that the company is doing stuff that aligns with their vision, then it's great. If you don't see the stakeholders engaging with the company in general, okay, they do not engage with me as customer success manager. But if they don't engage with anything in the company, that is a risk.
That's actually a great tip. And yeah, Basically, yes, the C-level and higher stakeholders may not engage in daily communication.
Another part that is really beneficial for us, at least, is making sure that C-suite of the company communicates with C-suite of your key customers at least once in a while to make sure that they are aligned and they feel that the company A and your company are going the same direction.
Yes, 100%. And my next question is a little bit provocative, but we are on the customer success therapy. And I have this genuine question just because I had, I would say, this debate in my last companies. As a head of product and customer success, please tell us on who should be in charge of adoption, customer success or product?
There is a huge twist. I believe there are shares of responsibility, and we have it build the way that we have own shares. So we have part of adoption where customer success is responsible, part where product is responsible, and part where the marketing team is responsible. So we have part of customer marketing with all of the sequences, all the webinars that are for the customer, and general webinars where marketing, that they're part of job. Customer success does onboarding in our case, and customer success oversees in general what happens with the customer. On the product standpoint, we are making sure that product is used. We cannot focus on everything. Like, for example, we have some customers that are using part of the product, and some parts of the product, I focus high level on their adoption. So I want people to use it, but I want to go nitty-gritty whether they use everything in the product. But that is critical when we are talking about the customer that is just using this product. Like, that is less of priority for a product. Customer marketing and marketing team is helping with adoption strategies, but they need to get signal from product or customer success. So they can help execute, but they cannot make the decision to execute something on their own.
Yes, I think that you're right. And you've mentioned this, that this adoption is not only on customer success. Actually, most all of the company is involved. And we are getting back to your thought again that you said that customer success is not only the role, but how the company should operate. Every department should be in charge of how the customer will be successful and will receive the value from the product. But if we are talking about, for example, to type the results to the OKRs or KPIs or metrics, then how do you see this, for example, OKR? Who is in charge of what? It's customer success or product, or it's one metric but from different points?
Customer success is responsible for general adoption. Product is responsible for new feature adoption. We are co-sharing general adoption. The root cause of this problem is that usually people tend to think that customer belongs to specific customer success. So it's your customer and you do with it whatever you want, but customer belongs to company. Everyone in the company has access to this customer. Obviously, we need to put customer success in the copy, please. So customer success understands what was promised and can coordinate everyone. The customer belongs to company, and everyone in the company has own stake that they have to deliver. So there are parts where like different teams are responsible, especially when it comes to bigger customers. In general, we have product and customer success. Before we had this in marketing, but as marketing only executes but not decides, we removed from them this adoption metrics.
Makes sense. So as we are talking a lot about the customers and adoption and AI, do you think that with AI, customers became even more demanding about the product, what products delivers, and so on?
I have mixed feeling, depends on the customer segment. Like, yes and no, bigger customers still move slowly. So they are interested in AI, but they use Copilot. This is like, and Copilot doesn't integrate with a lot of stuff. And there is like low traffic in Copilot. You cannot do much with that tech stack. And their compliance will take 2 years to implement Claude, and you are not sure whether Claude will be, well, I believe Claude will be there in 2 years with the speed they grow. But that's how it works. When it comes to mid-size and small, they are pushing a lot. Pushing a lot because they got this push from their management, because their customers are searching for their locations, their business in AI. So they need to understand how it works, use it, have it in the product. They don't understand what they want to achieve and how their operations change. So you are sitting with them and trying to understand what they are aiming to achieve so you can understand what you can deliver with product, or maybe you have something in the product already that they can use.
As we are wrapping up our podcast, can you please give our listeners one tip or advice?
My biggest advice for all, I would say, it's having time to disconnect from AI and from internet and tools and process all the information in your head. It's usually very helpful, and we forget the skill. And especially for customer success working in enterprise, that is a time when you create value without being connected to extra context that grows. You need to have this time to produce ideas. I don't know, walking, going to the gym, taking shower, cooking dinner, whatever helps you. This time without distraction is very needed, and we forget about this. So I would recommend you to have this 20 minutes with yourself, with your thoughts and ideas.
I think that's an amazing advice, especially now where we are so connected to technology. Having this moment for yourself and just pause. Roksolana, thank you so much for taking my invitation and for coming today onto the Customer Success Therapy podcast. For those who are listening us, please follow Roksolana on LinkedIn. We will add her link below, and I will hear you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.